Good morning. It is Sunday, February the 21st, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today, and we're going to go to the spiritual guidance and the daily prayer for a spiritual warfare. I will be a shield for you in battle. I will contend with those who contend with you, and will fight against those who fight against you. Take up my shield and armor, for I will arise and come to your aid. I will brandish my spear and javelin against those who pursue you. I am your salvation. Those who seek your life will be disgraced and put to shame. I will turn back those who plot your ruin. They will be like the chaff before the wind, for my mighty angel will drive them away. The path that your enemies take will be dark and slippery, because they dug a pit for you. I will cause ruin to overtake them by surprise. The net they hid to entrap you will ensnare them instead, and they will fall into a pit of ruin. Prayer declaration. Lord, you are my shield. You are my hiding place from my enemies. You will surround me with your shield of protection and will bring down my enemies. I will not be afraid of 10,000 that have set themselves against me, because you are a shield for me. You are a strong tower from all my enemies. Spread your protection over me, and I will rejoice and praise your name. Amen. So, and again, my name's Ron, and I'm your host and the only true conservative in the United States today. What else is there besides true conservatism? What I call faux conservatism, which includes two things, which is traditionalism and reactionism. So reactionism is just what it sounds like, being a reactionary, getting up in the morning and decide what you think or what position you have to take on various issues based on the opposite of what it is that you're reading in, say, the New York Times or the Los Angeles Times or what you hear on CNN. And a traditionalist is somebody that refuses to change at all, that is hidebound, that is absolutely resistant to any and all change, because tradition rules, let's put it that way. So the true conservative, on the other hand, is somebody that makes the presumption for the status quo, but changes when there is an obvious case for change. Two of them in recent American history being slavery and Jim Crow. So the other question is, what is it that makes me the only conservative in the country today? And it's simply because I'm the only one that really understands the dynamics, the political dynamics in this country and how they came about. That who somebody is even beyond politics, and it's become an identity issue, that who you are is wrapped up in your political beliefs. And your political beliefs are defined by the issues. And the issues are decided by the left. It is the communists and socialists that set the rules to the game. Another way of putting it is the frame. I've been talking about frames for about the past week, because there's a couple of excellent books by a guy named Lakoff, Lakoff, and he's talking about frames and how you frame arguments. And how you frame the argument will determine whether or not you're going to win or lose. And the ultimate frame in this country is the frame of conservative and liberal. And it's the left that decided that how you identify yourself, again, as an individual, it depends on what your politics are, and your politics are decided by the issues, and it is the left that will decide what the issues are. I'm the only one that recognizes that dynamic, and I am the only person in the United States of America today, and for the past few years, at least as long as I've been podcasting, and I've got over 800 episodes under my belt, I'm the only one who is trying to reframe the debate. All we have to do, you and I as conservatives, and true conservatives, let's put it that way, because I am hoping that you as an audience member are going to become a true conservative. But the only thing that you and I have to do is reframe the debate. If we can reframe that one debate and reframe that argument, reframe what we take for granted, reframe the idea that you are who you are because of what the left says, because the left tells you you are who you are. If we can reframe that and say, no, I am who I am because of reality, because of my knowledge of reality, and we can reframe it that way, then the right cannot lose. Let me say it again. We reframe the essential debate in this country, we can't lose. So that's what makes me the only true conservative in the United States today. If you want to be a true conservative, then you have to be able to make the distinction between what the left is doing and what the left is saying. So the example is billboard signs that I see around here, around my house, that have read, find out what it is Los Angeles County is doing to eliminate homelessness. And at first blush, I read that and I thought, okay, that sounds pretty cool. But I also listened for my conscience, that little bell that goes off in my head when something's wrong. And it was going off. That alarm was going off. And I'm thinking, what is it that I could be upset with? What is it my conscience could be bothering me about for this statement? It seems positive. Eliminate homelessness. What could be the problem? So it took a few days, actually a couple of weeks or more, for me to finally figure out what it was that was bothering me, and it was the word eliminate. Okay? That if the statement had read, find out what Los Angeles County is doing to reduce homelessness, the bell wouldn't be going off, because that's the idea. So what you have here is what they're saying, and if you're listening only to what they're saying, it sounds attractive. You want to go to the website. You want to check it out, and the website is going to invite you to participate. And when you start participating, you are moving left. You still think of yourself as a conservative, but you're going to be moving left. Why? Because what they're doing is selling, that sign is selling socialism. And you may wonder, well, how so, Ron? It doesn't say socialism, doesn't say communism, nothing about Stalin or Marx or any of that trashy band. So where do you get the idea of selling socialism? Simple, the word eliminate. The ultimate goal of socialism is perfection, the perfect society. So anytime when you have, and it's what's ironic about this, and also what also makes it wrong, is that they are using an absolute to sell a political philosophy that professes to disregard or disbelieve absolutes. That if you go around saying this is right, this is wrong, and you're saying it is a universal, it's always wrong at all times for everybody, then the left wants to come to you and say you don't know that. They're trying to claim that there are no absolutes. But here they're using an absolute, eliminate. It means none, zero. Using an absolute to sell a philosophy that professes not to believe in absolutes. One of the ultimate ironies. But anyways, that's what they're doing, though. Make no mistake about it. They're selling socialism. And they're doing it in a subtle and nuanced way. The left used to brag all the time about how subtle and nuanced they are, and how the right is made up with Flintstones and troglodytes that have no appreciation for subtlety and nuance. This is an example of their subtlety and nuance. But you can defeat it. Listen to yourself. Listen to that little voice in your head when it's telling you, hey, there's something wrong. Something's wrong here. Don't just blow it off. Don't just think, well, who am I to say? Who am I to argue? Who am I to disagree? Who do you have to be? That's the answer to that question. Who do you have to be? Who should I be? Because the left will ask you that. Who are you to say? Who are you to say what's right and what's wrong? Who do I have to be? An even better question to that, a response to that is, who cares? Well, who are you to do this? Who cares? Boom, shut them down right there. But listen to the little voice inside your head. That's what I do, and that's what makes me. Another way of looking at it is a recovering, brainwashed socialist, let's say. If everybody in this country has been brainwashed and is a socialist or socialistic to one degree or another, I'm in recovery. I'm figuring out slowly but surely how it is that I've been brainwashed and figuring out what to do about it. An idea that I had the other day, we always talk about when we're trying to get rid of a politician, we know that a sitting politician is when they are going to run for office, is one of the best opportunities to do so. And that the best time to do that when they're running for office is when in the primary. And we call it getting primaried, where the primary is, the word primary is used as a verb instead of a noun. But anyways, the problem is always be who. Who are we going to put up against, let's say, Mitch McConnell? Who do you put up against Mitch McConnell? And there is, it's very difficult to get somebody to run against him. It's very difficult to finance that campaign. He's not, whoever it is running against McConnell will probably not be getting support from the Republican National Committee. So here's another idea. If you're going to primary people, and this works also on the other side, and I'll explain how in a second, that if you're going to primary people, you could just as easily encourage everybody in this case in the state of Texas to run for office, run in the primary. Register as a Republican and put your hat in the ring. The only thing that you need to do to get to be considered as a candidate is pay a fee, $45, $50, something like that, and have X amount of signatures. You got to fill out some forms as well, but you got to have 5-10 signatures of people that are going to support you. So that's all you need to do. Basically, get your family to fill out and sign this form. You submit that along with a fee, and you're now running against Mitch McConnell. Now, in a two-way race where Mitch is running against one other person, Mitch stands out because Mitch is the incumbent. He's been the incumbent for a long time, so he has the advantage of name recognition. He's also going to have the advantage of the money that he's going to get from the Republican National Committee. Now, imagine if he's running against two other people. Imagine if he's running against 5, 10, 100, 1,000. Now, even better is if you can encourage every person in the state of Kentucky named McConnell to run against him in a primary. Now what? Now how? Mitch. Now how Mitch? Okay, because you may think, but you'd be wrong to think that Mitch's name is automatically going to be at the top of the ballot because he is the incumbent. No. The way that it works is it's done randomly. They throw everybody's name in a hopper and pull them out one at a time, so Mitch may end up somewhere in the middle of the ballot. If you got 100 people running, they're going to have to look for his name. They may not be able to find it. They're either not going to vote, or they're going to vote for somebody else out of frustration, or They may even accidentally vote for somebody else. You're watering down his support. Okay, so, he's going to be, again, any person running for office should be terrified of that prospect. But, anyways, that's a way where you can primary somebody. You could do the same thing now with, for instance, AOC. Miss Cortez, the communist in Brooklyn or whatever district she's in New York. And what you can do is, if you're determined, you got a group of determined Republicans, 10, 20, 50, more the better, register as Democrats. Run against her in the primary. Her last name is, I guess, Cortez. So again, same theory applies. Find as many Cortezes as you possibly can to run against her in the primary. So you make the sacrifice of registering as a Democrat so that you can run against her in the primary. 10, 20, 50, 100. We're thinking about. Some people other than myself that at least communicate like true conservatives, that are worth listening to, that are going at least in the right direction. And I don't consider them true conservatives because they're not what I refer to as conscious competence. They're unconscious competence. And one of them is the John and Ken show on KFI AM 640, and that it's a talk show, John Cobelt and Ken Champeau, and I love the way they communicate. They communicate in no uncertain terms. There's no doubt as to what they're trying to communicate, whether something is right, whether it is wrong, or sometimes they're communicating, they just don't care. But either way, they are communicating in an unequivocal and unambiguous manner. And that's the way that any true conservative must communicate. They don't try to measure their words. They don't try to be political about anything. They get to the heart of the matter. Is it right? Is it wrong? And they go from there. Another person that is on the EIB network that, is well worth listening to. Well, let's stick to KFI. Another one on KFI that is very much well worth listening to is Rick Edelman. He has a show on that I listen to. I don't know if his show comes on every day, but I hear it on KFI on Sundays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. KFI, 640. Anyways, he is a financial advisor, so he helps people with their retirements and whatnot. But he has a lot of experience, and he has, unlike most people will tell you, well, I've got so much experience. You'll hear it with talk show hosts. Hugh Hewitt, I've got 20 years experience. No, he doesn't. He has 1 year's worth of experience 20 times. So there's a difference. Rick Edelman is somebody that really has 20 years worth of experience. He's worth talking to. He's worth listening to because he has penetrating insights. He slips up every now and again, but he has these penetrating insights that make him, again, very much well worth listening to. He's also, again, another person who communicates unambiguously and unequivocally. The third person that I would refer you to, which is on the EIB network, is, what is the guy's name now? I can't think of it, but he is also doing a financial show. He's a financial advisor, and he's written a lot of books, and he hates credit. His mission seems to be to get everybody in the world to cut up their credit cards, to pay off their debt and cut up their credit cards. And anyway, so besides that mistake, other than that, he is well worth listening to because, again, he communicates unequivocally. He communicates unambiguously. He recognizes the truth in the statement by John F. Kennedy that things don't just happen, they are made to happen. He has a promo in which he is saying that good families, good children, for instance, don't just happen. They are they don't happen accidentally, is what he says. They don't happen accidentally. They are made to happen. A good marriage, it doesn't just happen. It's made to happen. That saving your marriage doesn't happen accidentally. It happens on purpose, deliberately. And that we act deliberately to succeed or, in some cases, to fail. But again, he communicates like a true conservative, unequivocally and unambiguously. So those are 3 talk show hosts that I would recommend that you listen to on a regular basis. I think you'll get a lot out of it. I wanted also to talk about, again, I always say that the best place to practice being a true conservative and acting like a true conservative is on social media. You can read Facebook and or Instagram and or Twitter. You can read what it is that people are saying, and there's not the pressure on you to come up with an immediate response. So you can stop, take your time, think your way through the issue, and then come up with the best possible response. In life, like in chess, you always want to make your best move rather than your second or third or fourth. Every time you make your less than your best move, you are weakening your position and leaving yourself vulnerable to counterattacks. So always make your best move. And along those lines, I encountered somebody on Facebook. There was a friend of mine that announced that Rush Limbaugh had passed away, and somebody had, as a matter of fact, I think it was on Hugh Hewitt, and that Hugh Hewitt had said that Rush Limbaugh had done some promos for him, and then there was, of course, comments. And Hugh Hewitt was basically saying, what a nice guy Rush was, kind of a throwaway kind of a eulogy, somewhat worthless eulogy, but anyways, he's brainwashed by the left. We all are, and so we think that that's the most important thing in the world is to be nice, and it isn't. But anyways, so there's all these comments, and one of them was a lady that said, was denigrating Rush Limbaugh, saying that he hated women, and he hated the environment, and he hated whatever else. And at first, my first reaction was to get in there and say, something sharp and to hell with you and screw you, you're just a no-good, worthless liberal, and start attacking her from that kind of a standpoint. And I stopped and I thought about it, and I told myself, be patient, you've got time here, there's no time limit, no clock on this. So you can stop and think. So I started thinking more in terms of what exactly it was that bothered me about her statement. And then I realized that what she was really doing was paraphrasing Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh didn't hate anyone. Nowhere in his show did he ever come out and say, I hate women, I hate environmentalists, I hate gays, I hate black people, I hate Mexicans. Never, ever, 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 ever. What he's always done is attack political groups. Okay, he attacked, with women, what he attacked was the National Organization of Women, which he referred to as the National Association of Gals, the NAGs. And he also referred to them as feminazis. He attacked the extremes. He attacked extremism. Environmentalists he referred to as environmentalist wackos. And then he would say, PETA. He would go after PETA. He didn't go after the environment. He didn't go after animals. He didn't say all horses or dogs or pigs should be dead. He didn't do anything like that. He attacked groups, and he attacked particularly extremist groups. He referred to, again, feminists as feminazis. He referred to environmentalists as environmentalist wackos. Okay, so that's what I put in my response, my reply to her was, you're wrong. Rush Limbaugh didn't hate anyone. He simply attacked, if you will, feminazis and environmentalist wackos, among others. And then I told her, I said, if you identify as a feminazi or an environmentalist wacko, that's your problem. Boom. End of statement. Now, what I failed to do there, and it's hard to remember, is to collect my victory by simply saying something along the lines of, you're not a leader, you're not a change agent, and you have no, and you can't win, or another one is, you have no authority, no power, you can't win. And close it off that way. Have a nice life. Boom. Put a smiley face on the end of it, and I've collected my victory. Don't leave the door open for these folks, because if you do, they're going to walk through. They're going to come back with a retort or response of some sort. And you want to shut the conversation off. So, again, the point here, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Parler, whatever social media that you can get onto can be excellent for practicing being a true conservative, not only with the left and people that are on the left, and openly so, but with other so-called conservatives, with faux conservatives, with traditionalists and reactionaries, people that think that they're making a difference on the right, and they aren't. There is a Leo Terrell, who has recently become a Republican and a staunch Trump supporter, good for him, then was talking about how he had on his podcast, he has a podcast, and he was saying on his podcast, and I saw this on Twitter, he was exhorting people to listen to my podcast. Trump supporters are patriotic. And he then refers to the podcast, which was an interview with a single individual. And so I'm guessing that what he was trying to get at is that this interview alone was supposed to be the proof necessary to show that all Trump supporters are patriots. And that's ridiculous on its face. I'm sure there's a lot of Trump supporters that want to radically change this country, maybe destroy the Constitution and start over, instead of creating a perfect socialist state, maybe a perfect state in some other way. There are people on the conservative right that want to create, for instance, a theocracy. They want a constitution that's based, biblically based, for instance, and they are as much idealistic as the socialists, because they're also looking for a perfect state, but one that is based on theism rather than atheism. Oh, excuse me. So again, with the Facebook, social media, whatever social media you care to use, an excellent place to practice, to listen to that little voice in your head when you're reading these statements that says something's wrong here. Stop for a second and try to figure it out. If you can't, don't just give up on it. Put it aside, move on, and but every once in a while come back to it and try to figure out what was bothering me about this particular statement until you figure it out. But it's, like I said, excellent places to practice thinking like a true conservative. And if you're going to think like a true conservative, you will act like one. So that concludes another episode of The Drill. Be honest, be smart, be beautiful. I'm Ron, and that's The Drill.